Welcome back, HMK family, YouTube family. This is an Espada cold steel XL that I picked up from a fair yesterday for 80 euros. Now you can see the blade, there's actually rust on it. Believe it or not. Hold on, I just shaved with it. It still has the factory edge without any kinks. Right, you can probably hear that, like you can even hear each serration on the edge, like you could probably even count them on your finger. It's a fresh factory edge, which is perfect for me because now I can use this as a point of analysis for quality control, which is exactly why I've always wanted an Espada XL, and this will become like a relevant factor later on in this video when we talk about this design. Now, first of all, yes, I am extremely lucky to have found a cold steel Espada XL in this how do you say, with this type of usage on it for 80 euros, which is like almost what, $90? I don't know. In Finland, from Lamnia, this knife is 500 euros. And you know, honestly, looking at this now, and this is actually quite an old design. This is like over a decade old, I think, by now, maybe like exactly 10 years old. I've seen a few of these here and there in my life. For example, my friend in Norway has one, and I got to play with it many years ago. I also, of course, at cold steel booths, for example, at YoU. And yeah, the first thing that stands out. Now, what's interesting for me is that, like, okay, the first time I saw it was like 10 years ago. Then I saw it again like 6 or 5 years ago. Maybe it was 6 years ago. And now I have one of my own. And the first thing that stands out, now the reason, you know, to me, after 20 years of knife making, straight away, especially now, like with the last 10 years of what I've learned in knife making and stuff like that, this is straight away, this is an incredible build quality. Like, in terms of just pure build quality, what you're getting, like in terms of solid things put together to last, where it's very clear that the people making it fucking love what they do. That's, yeah, like that is it. Like for $500, you could almost say it's a steal, because there's a lot of 500 euro stuff out there, like especially when it comes to boots, and when it comes to jackets, when it comes to hats, when it comes to headphones. There's a lot of stuff out there. Smartphones, GoPros too, like smart, you know, a lot of stuff out there. For $500, you're getting completely fucking ripped off on build quality. That's not the case here. And this, I think, is an extremely prime example of the degree of build quality you can get for $500. Now, is this a great knife? Honestly, I don't know. I'm not a martial artist when it comes to knives, but I've done a bunch of wrestling, I've done a bunch of judo and karate, and you know, I've also done a fair bit of gymnastics in my time. It might not look like it now because I've gained like fucking 30 kilos in 2 years or something, because, you know, it's just, if you've lived the first, you know, 28 years of your life without drinking Coca-Cola and without eating snacks and being like, oh, Mr. I'm strict about my diet, horse shit, and then all of a sudden it's like you stop giving a crap, and you realize like, holy, this is, some of this, you know, junk food is delicious. I'm gonna eat like 3 bags of this. And I do, from time to time, I do eat like 3 bags of Cheetos in a row. So, and it's delicious with you know, some Coca-Cola. But yeah, in terms of build quality, it's excellent. Now you can see this one in particular, it's been bashed around pretty badly. It's got somebody tried to unlock this with some tools, didn't know what they were doing. So this damage here is the main damage over the whole blade. When the guy brought it to the show, it was open. He brought it like this. I'm surprised the edge is in such good condition. The tip is pretty smacked. And I'm guessing that must have been during, not like pretty snap, like you don't notice it until you feel it. It's very, very, very small. But I'm quite sure that that would have happened while he brought it to the fair, because I know this guy relatively well, and he didn't have this at another fair that he was at in a previous one. So I think he picked this up just recently, very, very recently. And I think that the tip damage here is probably something that happened while it was being transported opened. And for some reason, nobody since the time it was first opened till it was on that table knew how to operate this lock. Which, guys, like, I know that sounds ridiculous, but you know, if you have female hands or something, and you bought this as a gift, or you wanted it as, you know, maybe you're a biker girl and you want to protect yourself. I mean, this, if you're a biker girl and you don't give a fuck, this is for you, okay? But you gotta know how to close that. If you got weak hands, if you bought this as a gift and you don't push this all the way absolutely down, it's easy for, you know, for someone like me who forges all the time, and, you know, I use my thumb quite a lot. You know, basically, I mean, a knife like this is intended for somebody who has like, you know, average or above strength. So if you can't push this down, it's pretty dangerous. Like, you're putting 2 thumbs there, it's not going all the way down, you're gonna shake it, nothing's happening. You go and get something, you start to get frustrated, and you start hitting it. You know, like, you start to see it happening. What's amazing though, really, is that you see all this damage here. I really hope you can see that, all right? And a little bit, tiny bit there, but there's nothing on the edge. It's like fresh. And then there's even rust, and then there's this weird snot looking gunk on the edge. Maybe some glue? I don't know. Another thing is that, so I thought about buffing this. I was gonna go and buff this crap off. I was thinking maybe I should clean it up, but I don't really know yet exactly what I'm gonna do, because I want this to be in as fresh of a condition. And if you look really closely on the grind, it's also still in factory grind condition. There isn't a single, it hasn't been used to hack anything. If I go out in the woods and I start hacking stuff, you know, and do a video on abuse test or whatever, you're no longer gonna see the factory finish that's hidden slightly underneath all this gunk. So this has never really actually been used, this blade. There's no scratches, no blemishes, nothing. I saw one on this side. Hold on. I don't want to touch that snot gunky shit, but well, anyway, I can't find it. There was definitely like one small scratch, but the condition of that finish, the machine finish, the grind on this blade is, is spectacular if you can spot it, and then it's under there. And another thing I noticed too that's really cool is that they actually managed to do a really good job getting the grind exactly the same height on both sides relative to this funky notch thing here that works great in your hand. So is it heavy? No, I mean, you know, the thing is, like, that's one thing I noticed with this is, like, at first I'm like, is this actually heavy, right? Now, yeah, it's weighty, right? It's got a little bit, I don't know if you can see, 450 grams. It's got mass to it. That mass, 450 grams, is not bad. Okay, because, for example, something like this is 427 grams. The difference, really, is where the weight is. Alright, most of the weight is here on this blade, and most of the weight is here on this blade. So, very interesting. I also noticed one thing, that folded, it's actually almost exactly the same length as my Kisaki. Very cool. Very interesting. Very interesting. So the main reason I got this is for me to be able to reflect on build quality that's available with the higher end products of like known manufacturers, right? I'm not going to use this. I'm not going to do test videos. I'm not going to go and out there and show you how this can cut. There's no point, right? I'm going to keep this in the best condition that I can. I'm going to figure out how to clean it without cleaning it and in such a way so I can keep the factory finish on there, because I don't want this gunk. I don't want this rust. It's crazy that it has rust, honestly. Like it's, and then still be in such great condition. It's stainless freaking steel. But yeah, quite a great find. I'm really lucky to have found this. I'm really happy. It was going to be an inevitable purchase anyway for hot metal knives to have in the collection of, you know, brand knives that is for research purposes. This is an extremely valuable product to have for a company for research purposes and a reflection point. To me, it's worth every penny, however much I paid for it, purely so that I can use it as an analytic point for quality control, competitor, you know, I mean, competitor, but just, you know, like this, you know, it's fascinating to see passion, and it's fascinating to see, you know, the guys who figured this out, who are brilliant, who this is an absolutely brilliant design, right? In every sense of the word. Again, is it useful? I don't know. I mean, it's up to you. You decide if this is useful or not to you. But I would say if you're and is it worth 500 euros? Well, I'll tell you that the build quality and the fit and finish is definitely worth $500, 500 euros. Yeah, absolutely. But it's up to you whether you decide that is that $500 worth it or not. But you're not going to get ripped off in terms of the amount of, like, the quality, right? Just if you're buying a watch for $500 or 500 euros, you hope that what you're getting is worth 500 euros for that watch. In this case, if we're thinking about a watch, this is absolutely, in terms of build quality, worth $500. Is it a $500 knife? You know, in terms of like, you know, can you find something that has the same properties for cheaper, that does exactly the same thing? Yeah, they do make exactly that. That is cheaper. That is also very reasonable price range for what it is. Now again, is that the type of knife that you need? I don't know. Cold steel has incredible price quality ratio, and this I think is a real reflection of that. Yeah, it's a lot of money, especially for most people, but if you've always wanted to get one and you can't stop thinking about it and you buy one, is it a waste of money? You probably should, you should probably be spending your money on other things that are more affordable, but you're not gonna get ripped off. That's what I'm saying. Like, a lot of people who really want something and they save for it and they buy it, like, for example, if you're young and you want a PlayStation or an Xbox and it's $500 or whatever, and you get it and there's like, it breaks on the first week, or it's a laptop and and something happens to it and it doesn't work or whatever. There's so many products out there that are $500 that are so terrible in qualities that so many people buy and get ripped off on, and they can't afford to even buy that price. So that's not gonna happen here. So, yeah, it's foolish to spend that kind of money if you can't afford it. And if you're waiting for somebody to tell you to buy it, I would say, I'm not telling you to buy it, because I got it for 80 euros, which is, if you can if you can get it for that price, then yeah, buy it. But yeah, I think it's a really cool knife, and I'm not gonna talk. There's really nothing really for this video. I've had it for for less than 24 hours now, so I'll come back to it and make like review videos later that are more in detail, I guess. I mean, this is more like this is just more like, wow, look what I found. This is really cool. Video. So I'll do another Espada video to follow this up. I'm trying to make the videos shorter, but I like having fun, and 16 minutes, 17 minutes is way too long for something basic like that. I think also it's very easy for me to put the knife on the table like this and then continue talking, but it's for you guys, it's much nicer if I actually hold the blade up here like nice and still. And I forget to do that, and I try to remind myself, like, if I just hold it like this. Alright, so ciao.